All right, so many countries across the world have a national minimum wage, including the United States, where governments and corporate organizations pay the minimum foundational standard salaries to their employees in their countries.
That's right.
And Nigeria is no exception. Now, organized labor has vowed not to accept anything less than 30,000 naira recommended by the Tripartite Committee to President Muhammadu Buhari as the new national minimum wage.
President of Trade Union Congress, Comrade Boboy Balaka-Gama, who spoke at the National Executive Council meeting of the association, also requested that all processes leading to the implementation of the 30,000 naira minimum wage should be completed on or before December the 31st, 2018. The TUC president said there was urgent need to fast-track the implementation of the new wage.
Meanwhile, some state governors are calling for a review of the revenue sharing formula to enable states adequately take care of its workers. They say to pay the new minimum wage bill, something must be done at the center so that the states can breathe. I like that. So something has to be done so they can breathe.
So what are you doing currently?
I'm breathing, of course. All right, we still have with us the managing editor, Gloom TV, Adele Adio, with us in the studio. Adele, it's still good to have you still with us on this.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, the revenue sharing formula seems to be in the center of things now. Now that it looks like labor, like we were analyzing earlier, it seems like labor is not ready to shift ground anymore from 30,000 and from the reality of things where many state governments are not even able to handle the 28 or the 18,000 minimum wage. It seemed like somehow someone was saying it seemed like they're going to blackmail the federal government into doing something.
I mean, of what use is a 30,000 naira minimum wage when you're not going to get it at the end of the month? When you're going to go months without salary. So you're just going to have it in your, what you call it, is it an employment slip now, your pay slip that you earn 30,000 naira a month, but you're going to go months without receiving that salary. I find it funny that the leadership of the Labour do not want to face this ugly reality, which is the fact that the country cannot afford this. I was reading yesterday what I found, very, very, very painful. That one of the agencies of government that has done an excellent job for me in the last decade is the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. They've not meddled in politics, they've done their job dispassionately, and they've put out figures consistently. And it was shocking that in the last few months they've not been able to put out figures. And when the DG of that bureau was challenged that, are you playing politics? He had to let the cat out of the bag by saying he's not had budgetary allocations to meet the production of those statistics. So one of the most important MDAs in your country that reels out statistics that's supposed to be used for business planning and the rest is starved of funds, goes to tell you or goes to show you that your country cannot afford a lot of things. And yet you want a 30,000 naira minimum wage that cannot be paid, I guarantee you, by over 25 governors as we speak today. So we have to call a spade what it is. The country cannot afford a 30,000 naira minimum
Let's talk
wage.
about the federal revenue allocation for a bit here. The sharing formula, currently right now, the federal government takes the lion's share, 52.68%.
Yeah.
The other 36 states share 26.72%. But there is a subsisting debate as regards whether this sharing formula, as the current one as it is, has passed through the National Assembly. Earlier this year, another committee of House of Reps are of the opinion that the current revenue allocation formula is illegal. How come we've not been able to pass this through the right process since 1999?
Well, I mean, it's funny because, first of all, you also have to realize, because I know that the governors want to play smart now by saying, of course, when it's your turn, you want more monies. But of course, you have to ask the governors also, how many of them actually disperse the funds that accrue to them for local government account, because they run a joint account with local governments, and the funds for their local governments are paid into a state account for them to move to the local government. In fact, by law, they're even supposed to pay 10%
to local governments.
To local
Exactly.
governments at the end of the day. Do they do that? What you see most times is that states do not even hold local government elections. They put caretaker chairmen across their local government, and they hold the funds of the local government. So you have, a disjointed system from top to bottom, which if we do not straighten up, we're just going to be running around circles. So the reality of the matter is, whether or not you change the sharing formula, it has little or no consequence, because the real issue is we do not have enough money in the country. It's an ugly reality.
You think so?
That's the truth. We're spending 69 naira for every 100 naira we earn on servicing debts. You have an over-bloated civil service, where, for instance, most local governments have become a platform for patronage, where if you win elections, if you took placards and ran around the street, we'll give you a job in the local government. So you have little or no productivity at the local government, and people earning salaries for doing very little. So, I mean, over 70% of your entire revenue is going on overheads. Doesn't make any sense. You have very little going on capital expenditure. And now you want to inject close to 70% pay rise, across board, because it's not just the people on the lower end that are going to have that increase. It's going to reflect up on top the director level. So you cannot afford that. And let me tell you what the ugly reality is. As we speak today, the minimum wage is going to 30,000 will be about $83 if you look at it. The Ghanaian minimum wage is about $53, less than $60 as we speak. There's a $20 difference. Ghana has better infrastructure, has more stable power supply. So if you're an international manufacturing firm that wanted to set up shop in West Africa, you're going to pay $53 for a minimum wage in Ghana, better power supply, better infrastructure. Would you come to Nigeria? The answer is no. So what you have is that you're even stifling job opportunities, because even a World Bank report that measures the inter-country trade came out with a report that will make you puke. Nigeria was ranked 182 out of 190 countries in trade, the ease of doing trade. Ghana is 156. So you see, Ghana is even doing 30 times or 30 steps better than you. In fact, Benin Republic, just down the corner here, is 107. Are you wondering why people prefer to import their thing through Benin Republic than coming through Apapa? So you have structural problems that are going to inhibit your progress.
And like you said earlier, there doesn't seem to be an urgency to, to turn all these things around, because the statistics are there, the ratings are there, these figures are out there. Everyone knows. And when Nigeria goes around asking for FDIs to come into the country, looking for foreign investors to come in, an investor will certainly look at these figures and take his own decisions. But let us, because we don't have all the time right now, what scenario do you foresee going forward, with the governors now requesting for a review of the sharing formula? The federal government is looking at, do we pay, can we not pay, and all of that. The Labour is saying there's no going back deadline, and so on. What do you foresee?
I wish I had the eye of Nicodemus now to know what would happen, to know what happens come December, come January. But what I do know is the facts that are on the table. And the facts do not lie. It's void of sentiments, of emotions. The truth is, one, most states cannot afford 30,000 naira minimum wage. On the other side of the divide, I understand the argument that the Labour are making, which is political office holders and 10 times more what these civil servants earn, and they never get old salaries and all of that.
You remember one of our headlines this morning said 5.7 billion naira was spent, and the money was even withdrawn cash.
Exactly. So I understand that argument that they make, and it's a really valid argument that they make. But of course, that argument has to be structured within the larger systemic problem of Nigeria, and that's why to fix this problem is to fix the systemic problem that we have, the systemic and the structural economic problem that we have on a wider range, which means you must improve your ease of doing business, not what we speak on television, but you have to ensure that your gateway is in complete ruins. You can't access Apapa. You have trucks towing for days, can't even access the port facility. And that's why you have the cost of moving these things skyrocketing by 50%. So until you get the structural problem right, you grow the economy can earn more monies, and then we can talk about sharing more.
Sometimes you wonder whether it is ideal for governments to wait on the federal revenue allocation to pay salaries.
Well,
That's the
that's
story
what happens
another
to
day.
internally generated revenue?
all right. All right, Dele Adio, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.